What do you do when your employed EA notifies you that they're expecting? On a personal level, you're really excited for them. But with your business head on, your mind might be racing and wondering how on earth you're going to replace them while they are on maternity leave. It can feel overwhelming if you've never been through the process before of finding the right cover for your employees, especially if they play a key part in your growing company's day to day life. In today's video, I'm going to share your options, discuss the pros and cons of each, and highlight how working with a virtual assistant might be the perfect answer you didn't know existed. As an employer, it's vital to understand your employees' entitlements so you can effectively plan for their time out of the business. From the day they begin their leave, your employee will be entitled to up to 52 weeks of maternity leave. Most expecting mothers begin their leave a little early, sometimes a couple of weeks or month before their due date. However, if their circumstances require them to take their leave earlier, maternity leave can begin as early as 11 weeks before their due date. For the first 26 weeks, it's classed as ordinary maternity leave, and the second 26 weeks are additional maternity leave. Statutory maternity pay or maternity allowance is typically provided for up to 39 weeks with specific eligibility criteria. And did you know employees have the right to return to their original job if the leave is 26 weeks or less? For longer periods of leave, they should return to the same or an equivalent role. If you don't have an HR team, it's important you know the full details of the legal considerations. So make sure you look carefully at the UK government's maternity pay guide for employers. In many workplaces, employers assure employees who are going on mat leave that their role will be secure, encouraging their happy return to work. The more flexible and empathetic you can be to employees regarding maternity leave cover, the better. For example, many new mums will request flexible working patterns, whether reducing or changing their working hours, asking to work from home more, or both. As an employer, accommodating these requests and working with employees will pay off in the long run as you keep your great team members, improve company culture, and increase employee retention rates. The average new mother in the UK takes 39 weeks of maternity leave, and 45% take more than that. Many expecting mothers plan to return to work after 6 months, only to realise they want more time, so they extend their leave. As an employer, it's best practice to prepare for your employee to be away from work for a year to be on the safe side. So, what are your options in terms of how you cover their role? You might approach the mat cover by moving your internal existing team members' roles and responsibilities around to cover the person going on mat leave. If you have a large team or flexible employees who perhaps can switch from part-time to full-time for the maternity period, this might be a great option for you. However, the reality is that most employees are only just managing their existing workload, so to pile on more work is not a sensible option. It may be suitable for short-term sickness, but maternity cover is likely too long a period to put added pressure on your staff. If you do choose this option, it's important to clearly define who in the team will be responsible for the additional duties and to allow them support and time to adapt. For example, if they're taking on an additional role, they might not have as much time for their existing responsibilities. You must ensure everyone knows their priorities so the most essential tasks aren't missed. One of the most popular routes to attain maternity leave cover is to work with a recruitment agency to find a suitable candidate for a fixed-term hire. For maternity positions, this tends to be a 1-year contract, ideally finding someone before your employee leaves to ensure a thorough handover period. This can often be a good choice for companies that need maternity support. However, due to the temporary nature of this approach, it can be hard to find candidates of the right caliber, and there can be difficulties with reliability. We recently worked with a client, John Ellerman Foundation, who struggled with just this. They initially made a fixed-term hire to cover their mat leave position, but after a lengthy hiring process to find a suitable candidate, their temporary person left unexpectedly, leaving them in a tricky situation whereby hiring another temporary contractor was not an option, as the process would take too long and leave them short-handed at a critical time. The final option is to work with expert contractors or freelancers, such as virtual executive assistants. Working with a highly skilled VA is a great option for covering maternity leave, as you can delegate a range of tasks with the confidence they will step into the role as a true professional, hitting the ground running and immersing themselves into your business. Working with an agency like ours means you don't have to handle the time consuming recruitment process. And if your allocated VA is unavailable for any reason, such as holiday or sickness, we can provide cover and ensure your support is seamless. We take real pride in matchmaking our clients and VAs so that you have just the right support to fulfill your needs. And that support is flexible. So if your employee decides to extend their leave or returns sooner than expected, there is no issue with adjusting the contract accordingly. Working with a VA to cover maternity leave also opens the doors to a more flexible working arrangement when your employee does return to work. If required, a VA can continue to work with your business to cover any adapted hours and allow your employee to return smoothly. You might consider working with a VA as a more expensive option, and on paper, their hourly rate may appear higher than your employees. But once you factor in employee benefits such as pension, holiday, training, equipment, tax, and national insurance, that's rarely the case. VAs also typically get more done in less time as they're solely focused on your work and none of the office politics. You're only billed for the hours you need, and when you experience their efficient manner of working, you'll realize how a great VA is of incredible value. No matter the type of support you go for, the sooner you make the decision, the better. You likely only have a few months between your employee notifying you of their pregnancy and them leaving. And as already mentioned, having a crossover period is definitely the ideal solution. As you can see, each method of cover has its pros and cons, but by far the most flexible and reliable support route is working with a VA, as they come on board during the maternity leave period, scaling up and down their involvement to suit your employees' return to work schedule. I hope this has been helpful. If you have any questions, do get in touch. Otherwise, I'll see you next week.